Okay. Hi, everybody. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy life to be with us on this very, very important sort of groundbreaking call for a new initiative for the Power Networking Conference. I want to start by giving kudos to Kim Yancey, who called me about a month after the Power Networking Conference. Maybe it was less than that. Maybe it was a couple of weeks, and said, listen, next year at the Power Networking Conference, you ought to do something very special for ladies. You ought to have a special day, a bonus day for ladies, and it ought to be around style and around makeup, around the things that excite our ladies to participate. And so that was the seed of the idea. And because I know that I personally don't have excellence in that particular arena, I immediately called James Wealthy, who I had the privilege of meeting at the eWomen's Network conference earlier this year, and proposed the idea to him. And James, of course, is a young brother who is in the beauty business and has been in the beauty business for many years. He's a gorgeous-looking brother, and I say that as a straight man, but he is a gorgeous-looking brother who not only is talented in his field of eyebrows and eyelashes, but absolutely is immersed in the industry of beauty, specifically as it relates to black women. And I proposed the seed of the idea from Kim to him and asked him with the most humility that I could summon to think about this and to take on this initiative, because this was his area of expertise, and to help us to think through and to plan a special day for women, which will be, I think it's Wednesday, June the 26th, because the conference officially starts Thursday, June the 27th through the 29th at the Intercontinental Hotel in Dallas. And he said, absolutely, let me go with this. Let me run with this. This is what I do, and I will submit to you, based on my research, based on my experiences, based on my expertise, a plan that I think would help us to fully execute and implement and plan this idea. And so I said, God bless you. You are the man, and I defer to your excellence and to your expertise, and look forward to reviewing your plan. And so he did what he does, and that is he went and he did his research. He did his, when I say research, I mean the technical research, and then the ground research, and then the experiences that he has acquired over many, many years of doing these kinds of things, participating in events like this, and then came up with the 3-page plan that all of you have in front of you, which I think is just outstanding. It's just a testimony to the excellence and amazingness that when we tap the right person for the right idea of what is possible, and not believe that in spite of whatever particular excellence I may have, or Emma may have, or Veronica may have, that we can transfer that excellence to something that we have not done. Quite frankly, I've not done anything like this. So I just want to lift James up, who's on the line with us, as everybody knows, and just say, man, kudos to you, and thank you for incredible work that you did. You are an exception to the rule. I wish I could say, in all honesty, and that this is just an example of excellence in our community. That would not be totally accurate. We are incredible in terms of ideas. Black people are not devoid of ideas. We have ideas coming out of the yin yang. There's just no question about that. We produce ideas per minute. Where we typically fall off the cliff as a people is in the planning and ultimately the execution of those ideas, and to intelligently articulate those ideas and put them on paper in writing so that they can be executed. And James, not only did you take the idea, but you put it in a form that is eminently conversational and eminently executable, and you, in a sense, and I have to say this with a smile, remind me a little bit of me, and Veronica and my sister would know this, that whenever I come up with an idea, I then commit it to paper, and then I just dare anybody who is in the circle of helping to produce this idea to come up with something better than what I've put on paper. And you have done that. I could not have done this any better, not even close to being better than what you've done, because again, this is what you do. This is your passion. This is in a sense part of your own personal vision, and this is what you've participated in for many, many years. So the only kudo I give to myself is that I was smart enough to understand what I didn't know, and then smart enough to understand who actually really knew and who really knew how to do this. And so I say that as both a formal and an informal introduction to everybody on this call, to James Wealthy, who again is on this call, and again, all praise goes to you, James, for giving us a document that we can react to, and we can refine if refinement is necessary. We can tweak if tweaking is necessary. We can add, subtract, divide if that is in fact necessary. But most importantly, we have something on paper, and it's amazing. So, as my sister likes to say all the time, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And a round of applause to everyone, to James, and I ask that everyone on the call give him a round of applause for really thinking this through and giving us something to react to. Okay?
Amen.
That makes sense? I don't hear any applause, but...
We're trying to clap.
Absolutely. So, James, I know that you have also brought on the call two of your assistants who has been ascribed to taking notes, and again, another brilliant move, because men don't take notes really well. Women do, generally speaking.
Amen.
I don't know what that's all about, but they're much better at it than we are. And so thank you for understanding that and then bringing them to the call, and to the sisters who are with us. Make sure that we dot the I's and cross the T's. And with that all being said, I want to sort of toss it all to you, James, and then you walk us through step by step, and then let us react to what you have. Now, I noticed one big thing, and the big thing is how you want to frame it and how you want to name it. and which is different than, of course, the preliminary name that both Linda Clemens and Emma came up with, and that was Go Diva Day. Go Diva Day. And you had some thinking around that, and in addition to the thinking around using Go Diva Day, you came up an alternative that we can discuss and toss around and make sure that everybody is comfortable with. Okay? Why don't you take it from here, James?
Excellent. Thank you so much, George. I am very humbled by my introduction and have the opportunity to be with such greatness on this line. Everyone, Miss Veronica, Emma, Linda Clemens, Linda Morgan, Kim Yancey, you guys have been beyond a blessing to have the opportunity of people to take me in early on, and Stan Fleming, my client, was the one who introduced me to FraserNet, and that's how I came about. From there, of course, I have to definitely mention Melissa West, who also was a part of our research, and the two young ladies that are on the line. They worked tirelessly to make sure all this was organized, edited, and made sure it's taken care of in a timely manner that we could present this to you. So I definitely applaud Kelly and Candace on the line, too, as well for that. Thank you so much. This is an overview from what you gave me to go with, George. And the Go Diva Day sound excellent, but I kept running into issues with it sounding very much like Godiva, and the brand of that and the possibility of some legal ramifications concerning that was one of my major concerns. So when I began to do my research, I tried to find another name, and I'm telling you, I almost racked my brain on it. But after I went to an event called Chicago Styles, and I'm not sure if you haven't gotten that video, I can send it out to you. And it's basically an overview of what we followed this whole format from, which is Shecky's out of New York. It's basically a ladies' night out opportunity that has been very successful in New York, and now it's taking root in other cities all across the country. But I wanted to identify it with something that would be a part of the surrounding area, which is Dallas, and we'll be there for another 2 years, George, right? Correct?
Another 3 years.
3 years.
Another 3 years. Excellent. So I wanted to identify something that the community could identify with and be a part of that was simplified. So I came up with Dallas Styles. For one reason, the name was available, and we own the name. I wouldn't register it online, so now the name DallasStyles.com is a name that we have. I can't tell you how difficult it was to try to find Diva, Go Diva, and all those ones. They were all taken under the names of having a domain name. So that was another difficult challenge that I ran into. So, and I definitely stand open if you want to change it, that's fine. But this is what I actually purchased the name. I actually have a landing page. If you notice, it says about.me/Dallas Styles. That's a landing page of a basic overview of what it looks like as far as it's just a landing page. I actually can go into having a web site designed out for it, but that's a temporary one. So just to go over our dates, of course, this is for Wednesday, June the 26th, 2013. It's going to be held at the Intercontinental Hotel and Resorts in Dallas, Texas. I'm trying to see about the timeline, George, and I'm not sure. There's going to be a day session, and that's where the question marks come down here, where we have the day session where you had some plans to line up some things with some speakers throughout the day. I reserved the day session time from 9 to 5 p.m. if that is a total go, but the area that I was designed or was focusing on was from the 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. for the exhibit hall or the exhibit hours.
The day sessions, you're exactly right, James. We will have day sessions because this is a day of inspiration,
great,
motivation, and empowerment for our sisters. And
excellent.
So we needed to insert into this Dallas Styles Day some meat and some sustenance beyond the cosmetic, beyond the outward appearance of our sisters. We needed to deal with the inward and the inner thinking of our people as well. Provide them some skills training vis-a-vis Linda Clemens, to provide them some inspiration and motivation vis-a-vis the likes of Emma or Lisa Nichols or Veronica Conway. What I'm not sure of, and we can talk about it, is how we execute that. Is it 3 keynotes that are interdispersed throughout the day, and then a series of a couple of workshops? We need to talk about that. But in between makeup and eyebrows and eyelashes and all the wonderful things that you have laid out here, people need to be going in and out of other things that give them a holistic experience.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. James, George, this is Linda Clemens. May I make a comment?
Sure.
James, first of all, you did a wonderful job, and of course, for the short time that when I met you, and we've had time to spend together, and our conversations thereafter, I'm Emma and I guess the entire team, we are grateful that you are part of this, so that I can get some clarity and we can get a clear focus because of the demographics or who we're pinpointing, women. What are the 3 takeaways, the 3 goals or the objectives that we want from this particular day, and who do we want to target? Because the name, I like it. In what we're that I was thinking with when George introduced that scripture. There's a scripture base, I guess, as a foundation for the entire conference as well. And when Emma and I were just discussing, and Emma suggested a Go Diva, that was a working name as we were going through that. So we're so glad that you did the research and to be able to find something for us to be able to work on. The reason why I was asking you, because we do want the entrepreneurial woman, we want the business woman, we want those particular women who are wanting to invest in themselves. That's in their mind, their spirit, their body for fitness and health, their hair looking good, and just to throw out there. And James, I want your feel on this. I had just suggested maybe just a couple of things, and I want all of this, if you feel about this, for us in our marketing piece, so that women who are looking at this won't think, James, that from doing the hair shows and being in some of the big and the best, that they won't think it's a hair show.
That's a very good, very excellent.
So if I can just give you, James, if I could just throw you the names that I was just throwing out there for you to feel it and digest it. Okay. One was Women, Brilliance Beyond Boundaries. The other one was Faith, Fine, and Women. Faith, Fine, and Fierce. And then talking about the family, the fitness, the or whatever else that comes in there. But I was just thinking of something so that we are mass producing it to still pull women from all over, because even I know when George started this in Cleveland, and of course when it was in Atlanta, most of our people that were coming in, they weren't necessarily from the area which we were hosting the conference.
They were or were not?
Were not.
Okay, gotcha. And what I would say is, with the name, since we own the name, like what we have, Fraser Power Networking 2013, that could be a subtitle, those names that you're talking about. But for simplicity, we always want to have a domain name that makes it easy for a person to get to you. It's almost like having a good, location matters. It needs to be easy for you to remember when I say it to you, Dallas Styles or JamesWealthy.com. So
yeah, that's easy to remember. But I was just thinking about the theme. Okay, I was just thinking about.
So the subtitle could definitely take that theme that you're talking about, and we can attach that with that, and that would be the banner of it. But the easiest way to get to there, it has to be a URL or a domain name.
Like DallasStyles.com, along with Fraser Power Network presents Brilliance Beyond Boundaries, or Without Boundaries, or what have you. Or okay. Because I want to make sure that we get that demographic that purchases and not where it may appear to be a hair show. Does that make sense?
I don't. Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. And there are several ways that you can go about doing that from your marketing perspective. And if you go down on the marketing side, I have some very unique individuals that are there that will be able to bring. We're going to have our e-commerce, which will be the business people that will be providing the services, and then we're going to have to hit the community locally there. And we got to work off a database of the local business women that are there. And this we're talking about planning out as early as January on out. So you're going to have people externally, but internally. That's why I took the name Dallas, because now there feels like that's a sense of entitlement to your local area.
Right.
As opposed to something out external. So now Dallas, this is about Dallas people.
Because I was even thinking, even with e-women, of all the years you'd be surprised of quite a few of the women who live in Dallas didn't even know that it exists, because most of the people come from all over the different parts of the country. So I just want to make sure we still pull those women in that encourages them to come in a day early, and this like this is going to be a wow to kick off the conference.
Right. Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, George. Go ahead, Judge.
Yeah, I think, Linda, that's a great idea, and I love your sub theme, and I think that actually that sub theme under DallasStyles.com, it should go right under DallasStyles.com. It should explain that sub theme,
right?
What it is exactly. What is Dallas Styles, right? It is those three words. Give me those three words again, dear.
Oh yes. The one I said, faith, fine, and fierce. Women, faith, fine, and fierce.
Faith, fine, and fierce.
Mm-hmm. And I put the faith, George, because of that scripture that you kicked off, set up the conference for next year.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's good. And I think and if James agrees, that could be the sub-theme to explain what Dallas Styles is all about in just three simple words. That's not what the Power Networking Conference is about.
Right.
We have a different sub-theme for Power Networking, but this bonus day of Dallas Style has its own theme and its own focus. And, of course, one of the goals, as James so astutely pointed out, is to increase the local participation of people from Dallas in our conference, which was not what it needed to be. It was not certainly like the kind of local participation that we achieved in Atlanta.
Right,
so I think that
George,
works for us on a number of different levels.
George, would
yes.
it be necessary, going along with Linda, because we had conversations about this, would it be appropriate to say Power Networking launches Dallas Styles, fine, fierce, and whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's fine.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I
would probably add on there to everyone the ideal of the whole purpose of this day is a pull-through day. It's called a pull-through and a sale. It basically, I could easily see people locally upgrading to coming to PowerNet, the Fraser Net, because of this event. So they didn't originally come out for it, but now that they're there and it's going to continue on after they have this Wednesday experience, then it would just make sense for them to be a part of Fraser Net.
Right.
So it's basically a pull-through in the marketing. So they initially come out to, enjoy the atmosphere, but then they're like, wait a minute, you got a business conference going on too as well? And that opens them up to be able to register even for Fraser Net.
Right. So that's why I would like it, the first word in it, not to be Dallas Style, but to be Power Networking does Dallas Style or something to that effect.
Yeah, Power Networking launches Dallas Styles.
Right.
Yeah, Dallas Styles.
Yes.
And then the sub-theme of Dallas Styles.
Right.
And then it make it clear that this is sort of a bonus day. This is an extra day. This is an extraordinary day.
Exclusive.
I think that's very, very important. I think the other point on that, James, is how do we value that?
Okay.
How do we charge for that, or not charge for that and give it as a bonus day, but put value on it? What is a day like this typically worth? And then how do we give it to people at little or no cost?
Go
Yeah, and still monetize it, and make profit from it.
Well, there's a few things that the focus
issue.
that I had. I sent you over the full version, which everyone don't have that. It had a little bit more detail, but it was unedited. The evening part is where the funding generates. I don't know about the day part. That's why I have question marks there, and that's an area that I will leave that to you. But for the evening aspect, if we successfully put together the swag bags, which is a part of the video, and put together that's why women want to come out, because of the swag bag. We could easily charge anywhere between $35 to $45 for that. Plus your vendors will pay to be there to be able to service those people that are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have.
That's the business.
I wanted to say that if, in looking at the e-women's, because Linda and I had this question, I think if you put a moderate price on it, it values it even more. Because what I was envisioning is that you don't want to lose that audience in the day. If we could hold them there with a luncheon during the day when we have them from 9 to 5 so they don't get up and walk out.
Yeah, but the challenge with a luncheon is a luncheon at an intercontinental hotel is very expensive. That would far exceed whatever price they would pay in. A luncheon at a hotel like the Intercontinental, even a luncheon, is $50 a head.
Easy.
So the math doesn't work. The math, because you would spend at least $50 per head on a luncheon. So we need to think about that. That's a whole nother thing. You can send them to lunch on your own, which is a far more cost-effective way. It's one of the reasons we don't have a luncheon on Thursday, for example, at the Power Networking Conference. We have a luncheon on Friday, and we have a luncheon on Saturday because we have work to do on both of those days. We give out awards, and we have our brain share, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So from a business standpoint, a luncheon pays. But on a bonus day where we're charging $25 or $35, just the luncheon itself would eat up whatever we would charge for admission. I don't know what the projected income would be from vendors, but whatever it is, it would probably still be consumed by simply having a luncheon.
Well, that hotel, if I remember, they have more than enough restaurants, so if we gave people an hour and a half for lunch, could we speak to the people in those restaurants? Would they have luncheon specials so people would not leave the hotel?
Oh, absolutely. They would do that, sure.
Okay. You follow what I'm saying?
Sure.
If someone was to pay for it and didn't have and wanted to come in, and what would be the value of this?
How I envision the 9 to 5 would be your breakout sessions with the speakers that will be there, or you can have everybody in one main location. Then we have that 5 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. That's where people can go and rest before the evening session that takes place, mind you. So, but to put a value on the evening part is where my main focus was at, is you do an early registration, which is a general admission of maybe $35. If you do it early, then $45. Assuming you do, say a number like 1,000 is 4,000. So you do a number like, I don't know, say $45, and you do maybe 1,000 people to come on out. That's really a nice evening, even though we might only do maybe 200 to 400 people. But, when you look at the numbers from that standpoint. Now, of course, a swag bag, if with Georgia's resources, which I have been working on some of those as well, if we can get our bags out of China or somewhere at $50 a bag, and then all we would need is the goodies to go in there. I've done research with Salon Centric just at a trade show I was at down in Birmingham, where they literally have overstock items at the beauty supplies that they sell for less than $1 sometimes at the shows. So it's a matter of filling up the bags and basically having the bags at the least price that we can get it at. Or if Procter & Gamble or someone wants to sponsor the bag. Once we establish that part, then it becomes gravy after that. It's all about marketing and getting the information out and getting the women to come out and experience the evening at that point.
Well, see, what I'm thinking, and tell me what your thoughts on this. There was an event. I don't know if she still has it or not. That women were clamoring to get to, called Spa Odyssey, where women were paying $2,000 to $3,000 just to go. A huge experience where they had, like, for example, Shaquille O'Neal's mother and Venus Serena one time, different speakers. Starbucks would set up, and Saks and Nordstrom's would close it down the store, and it had to be centered around spa. And these are executive women paying $2,000 to $3,000. Their goodie bags, believe it or not, were like, at that different events, were like Coach bags, with iPads and things of that sort. That's not saying that we're doing that, but these women in their mind were paying $3,000 to $4,000 just in their mind to get a swag bag that's a Coach bag that they could have bought for less. And just the experience that was happening there. But remember, look at the ambiance and what takes place. So here you've got a wonderful, the way you've got this laid out, James, is fabulous. So all of that, the value, this is just me, the value of that, you've got 3 dynamic women speakers and the music and the workout and some of the top and R&B, all of this going on. The value of that alone could be, for a full day conference, could be $295, $399. However, the first women that they can get it for $99. That includes a swag bag, valued at with over $300 worth of goodies. Oh, I'm going to be the first 100, or whatever the amount we take. You see what I mean? So the value has to be so high to create the urgency of me paying it to want to get mine in now. Otherwise, it's kind of like concert tickets or tickets. If it's low, people won't have an urgency to do it pre-sales or in advance, so we know where we stand.
I'm thinking about eWomen, that what they charge for these special events, like the evening and whatnot, for $99 or $129. They were selling out. I mean, of course they had unlimited liquor and stuff. That's not necessarily our focus, but women will spend $99 to get a great swag bag. And let me just tell you this, I have to agree with Linda. A cheapy swag bag will fall like a lead weight. But though I know in China you can, because Vera Moore, I have her bag. She has a great bag. I think she told me she paid $3 in China. But it was really fabulous, and it had a bag and a hat that says Vera Moore Cosmetics. But it's really a high-class looking item. You follow? We don't want...
I mean, 102 weeks she's at our house on Sunday doing her pedicure and her manicure. I also brought in, depending on Georgia, if anyone...
Dallas Style, the one, I saw it,
Yeah, in that video, they had a lot of coupons that people could utilize, and I think that would be that's a great idea, and that would be a great opportunity for them to execute it immediately. So, and then there are other people, immediately when they register for Dallas Styles, we also can follow up and say, hey, by the way, you can upgrade to FraserNet for an additional, just like they do on a lot of other things. So now you got their telephone number, their database, their email, and they're now in a database. If you got 100 people pre-registered for the Dallas Styles, now that's 100 people potentially you could upgrade to an additional service or additional products, which would be the next conference that comes right after that. So that would be our other database to work around with. At this point, just for the record, I have also did some other research just to is everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Before I move to the next page.
I'm clear.
Okay. I've done some other research and got some confirmed advertisement right now from some other friends of mine. Encore magazine happens to be a Dallas-based magazine that is in the that's in stores right now at Books A Million, Hastings Books, and also it's at Barnes and Nobles right now. He does about 250,000 issues that go into the beauty industry right now. He is willing to give us a full page just on my relationship already for his magazine. Of course,
I think I met him. I think you introduced
he did
me
the
to
photos. I introduced him to Kim Yancey. He did all the photos for eWomen Network. So he has his own magazine. So he'll give us an ad in there, and he's going to do an article on me for his next year's edition, so we can maximize that. George, I just saw Bernard Bronner at a hair show on Sunday, and like I put in here, he said that anything that you're doing, count him on in for Upscale Magazine. So we can utilize that as well as we can take advantage of doing the Bronner Brothers show and having our presence to pull in these hairstylists. We have to understand the beauty industry right now throughout this economy is one of the strongest economies that's in the country right now. We have, people are not going to stop getting their hair and beauty done. During the Great Depression, one of the number one selling products that was during the Great Depression was lipstick. Because a woman feels like even though she doesn't have $70 to $90, $150 to get her hair colored, she can buy a tube of lipstick or get her eyebrows or her eyelashes done, and it make her feel better. I had a lady come in today, Caucasian female. She said, I wasn't feeling too well, and I said, what do I need? What do I want to do? She called me on a whim. She said, I know I need to go see James so he can thread my eyebrows, and I'll feel better today. That was her.
James, I want to affirm that. Because, I'm in New York, so we had a hurricane. We just went through a nor'easter. George was trapped here for 5 days with me, which is the reason probably why he'll be insane for the rest of his life. But, and we have long gas lines. Mm-hmm. I used my gas because I said if I don't get out of here and get my nails done, my eyebrows waxed, and a pedicure, I'm going to go crazy in this house. Yeah. So after the hurricane, I went out and got that, and I felt so much better. I got ready for the nor'easter by doing those three things.
Wow.
So it is. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
Can you tell that story? Can you tell that story at some point at the event?
Yeah, but it was, and when it was it was amazing. I was one of the first people in the place, and the woman just laughed. I said I couldn't take it anymore.
Wow. Love it. That's why, that's even confirmation that I know what we're putting together has no other choice but to be a great success. And I also have another friend of mine who has the Texas International Beauty Show, which that's why I came down this year he's doing his hair show the week before Fraser Net, which is another springboard to be able to gather local businesses to come out and service these women, because that's what it's all about, the marriage. It's the marriage of you got all these people there, but they also need to be able to get services, because that's the whole ambiance of the evening.
And 65% of the people who attend the Power Networking Conference are women. I mean, 65%. So
they're all excited, George. They're all excited. Anybody that Linda talks to and I talk to, Peggy and all of them, are all excited.
Love it.
So, James, how many vendors are you're targeting? Do we have a big enough ballroom for that?
Well, this is what there was an open space downstairs that was not being utilized that I saw when I was there. That could be an option, or when you immediately come upstairs on the escalators and you turn to your right, that's another area that could be utilized. So it does not even interfere with the Fraser Nets already, people that's going to be setting up for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you kind of like have it's basically as an extension to what you already had, is how I look at it. So it's
we have upstairs right across from the ballrooms where all of the vendors were this year. We can fit about 50 vendors in that space alone. And then if we extend it to the areas in which you're talking about, we probably can add another 25 or 30 vendors. So I think we have the physical space. And if we moved it down, and if we put some downstairs, I mean, they can hold 150 vendors in that area that was not being used. I would like to keep it contiguous in one area, in one space, and dominate that second floor as we did this year. So I think we have the vendor space that's needed.
James?
Yes.
James, you know what they always do with these things, and I know you could pull this off.
What's that?
What always helps is if you take 2 or 3 women and do a makeover and show them before and show them after. Women just love that kind of stuff.
That would not be hard to do, and that's why I said with the individuals that we have that's already committed to work with me and work on this project together with us, I think that could be very doable. And on top of that, mind you, we talk about Kim. I mean, her weave and her doing hair on sets is, $2,000-$3,000. I mean, these are not no pushover people. So to take 2 people and really give them a full-fledged expert experience from the best in the industry, I think that person one would be excited about it, and the other people would be encouraged by the same experience as well. So I definitely can see us basically doing a drawing. There it is.
Yeah,
right there.
that's yeah.
I could easily see.
I was going to sacrifice and submit myself, but it's all right.
Doing a drawing for the early registrants to be able to, if they register,
wow,
we're going to have a drawing, and then those individuals, out of that list of the early registers, we'll turn around and have a drawing for the top 2 or 3 people will be the winners for it, and then those are the services that we will perform on them first and knock them on out, and everybody else come after that. I think that would be ideal.
James, what is the business model you think would best serve the Dallas Styles and the vendors? What's the business model that really works for the vendors? Is it
you got to. This is a grassroots project. This is a grassroots project. But my biggest concern is I'm obviously going to have to hit Dallas sometime before. I'm going to have to take at least maybe 1 or 2 trips out there before. I have resources in Dallas that literally are distributors that go into salons that would basically hit on the doors, just like campaigning for an election. This is a grassroots project because it hasn't been done before. That would get our vendor side out, but then we got our local community that we have to tap into where are the local community being gathered at in that area, which is not hard to find out. But once we establish that, I think that is what is going to be the most important part, and have a deadline of having certain goals and having so many people registered by a certain time. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, explain.
But when you go to a vendor, James, and they say, yeah, I'd like to participate, what's the deal? Do you charge them for a booth? Just a straight charge? You get a percentage of what's
trade out? Some will be trade outs, George, just to help you out. Some will be trade outs, like, for instance, your VIP group probably would not be paying for theirs because they're your main draw. But the other people surrounding them to be around Kim Kimball or Gloria Williams or James Wealthy is a value for a salon by itself. So it's almost like, oh, yeah, I was there, but I was with James. I was even with Kim Kimball. So that she's shooting her television show right now. I'm actually going to be on her last episode of her show doing a lash party. So that's what we're working on in another project right now. So that right there in itself, for a local salon to have that experience in the same room and working with us, is value in itself. So to say, listen, we want to be able to have you come on out. We're doing early registration for our vendors, and we have a limit of only 25 vendor spaces, and you get yours early and go from there.
What is the point price for vendor space?
What I would do anywhere between 2 to 3, maybe. You don't want to run them away maybe at 500, because the whole objective is it has to be worth them coming back or being able to get enough services throughout that time, or be able to market themselves enough to be able to get that value back in their salon. So a comfortable price
would the space price be different if someone had a corner booth compared to a certain row, or would the package include advertisement in the program if there's a program or 2-minute commercial? You see what I'm just trying to different packages that we can.
I would say market them too. You would say you'll be put in a list, very much like an ad book. We do an ad book. We turn around and put them in a booth. Then we'll turn just like the same thing a trade show would do. Put them in a booth, put them in an ad book, basically, and we'll have all the vendor spaces numbered, obviously, and they'll have a list of where you want to go to. You could even go so far as putting different services in certain rows. You can have the day spa area, and you can have the hair area, and you can have the natural hair area, which is a huge growing community. That's
too
a huge growing
confusing when they're all mixed up in it together. But if you had all like vendors categorized, women could go from one to the other and just take advantage of the service.
Exactly. But I kind of see a central or a general area where you have your everybody back to back in the center, which would be like my booth next to Gloria's, next to Kim, and we're centered and everything surrounded around us. So you got your main draw in the middle, but then you have all the other ones surrounded around that. And that kind of would be, that's kind of how I'm envisioning. I don't know. That's just kind of, and it would take our research, George, to go down and take the trip down and say, okay, what are we going to do? And this takes that planning part. So that's my only concern, is us getting our planning done, us hitting our marketing, and really This magazine, Encore magazine, is ready to go. Texas International Beauty Show has over 7,000 people in their database right now, and he's local. Those are local. That's your local ground truth that's going on. So that's not somebody external. These are internal individuals. But getting them information once we get a complete picture or vision that we have would probably be ideal for them to execute and get that information out. So the sooner that people hear about it, the more successful it'll be.
Okay. So the timeline. Let's talk about timeline for a moment.
Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Once we wrap up in terms of the look and feel, the themes, the program, when do you think we need the first graphic, the first page that says, here's what it is, here's how it works, here's, who, what, when, why, where, that kind of thing? Well, by the end of December, by the beginning of December?
Well, for the record, Encore magazine, we need to get that in there by November the 30th. So we need to push towards getting our name, and it could be general, by the way, but he'll put that in his next book by November 30th. And he might have a little bit more time because it comes out the first of the year is when his magazine comes out. But at the same time, November 30th, to have at least a one-page sheet that goes over it. I can do a personal invite. I'm inviting you in the beauty industry to come on out to enjoy Fraser Net and the Dallas Styles, boom.
What I would like for you to do, James, for me, because you have the expertise, because you've been a part of so many of these things, is if you can do a tiny bit of research, send me some examples of one-sheeters, send me what you think the appropriate copy should be, what should we say, and and then what photographs should we have on the flyer? Whose pictures should be there? And then what should we say? Then I have a number of graphic designers that I could tap into, pull it all together. But the copy and the photographs and the themes that go on the one-sheeter is what's most critical. And I can get the graphics done in a week, actually.
Love it.
Okay.
Well, we'll execute that immediately. Once we, again, I think we've overviewed pretty much most of these things that's on here. I'll tap back into one or two pieces on here, particularly the sponsors. At this point, I know you have a lot of resources. I just had the great opportunity to connect with the North American director over PayPal, and we're in conversation right now, and I think I told you about that, George, in conversation right now. If we can get a title sponsor or multiple title sponsors to be a part of this, that would definitely
James.
Yes.
Can we have something, because there's no women's thing going, can we have something for breast cancer? You think they would give us or send us, the pins? Because every woman is concerned about that. That's part of our initiative.
The Susie Corman thing?
Yes,
Susie Corman.
As they present,
that.
You're right there. Well, let's look
the
into
month
it.
is the issue. The month is the issue that comes to mind immediately. That's usually around a September thing. Now, if you could tie into something that's local, that's a pain point, as my dear friend Veronica says, over there, a pain point for the community, whether it be women's abuse, whether it be something on a line that the community can tie in and say that it could be a part of, then I think that will be as successful as the breast cancer awareness concept. I mean, because mind you, that's a month for the whole month of September or October, I think it is, that goes on throughout the whole year.
October.
Well, I think
October, right. If you're in the opposite season of that, it kind of takes a little bit away. Not that it's not important, it's very important, but whatever the issue is for that community, and to be able to work with help.
What I meant is, could that be part of a swag bag? I mean, that's something that all women are conscious of. In other words, would they send us their flyers and their pins if we ask them? We don't have to advertise it as a month, but part of the as our consciousness as women.
Oh, definitely. I think they'll send it to everybody. I mean, it seems like there's not too many people that they wouldn't send it to. I can't see them denying anybody.
Emma,
you know,
not to sound self-aggrandizing is certainly adoption and foster care.
Mm-hmm.
Adoption and foster care needs to be a theme, one of those eleemosynary themes that we tie into, because that's what we're writing about. That's what we're talking about. That's that's what we have products and services around adoption and foster care. So I think that we can't eliminate that as a major nonprofit community-oriented theme. Adoption.
We can do our research on that too. Whichever one is the most. I like that idea. Whichever one is the most. And my assistants, they can do some research in the Dallas area, and it's a matter of a few phone calls. We can find out what the pain point of that community is, and then it becomes an attachment. That's why we gotta. Even though we're operating this externally, all of us don't live in Dallas.
No.
And none of us live in Dallas at this point, but Dallas has to basically take it on as if it's a part of them. And that ownership is what we want. So that's why we got to pull, if it's one organization, and I don't care if it's $1 given to that organization, or something in the sense where they can feel like, oh, I can relate to that because I got a cousin that had her kids taken. That's those pain points in that local area that would cause people to be a part or support something like that.
Right. Let's go down your list of sponsors. You got PayPal, which you have a connection to. Mm-hmm. Procter & Gamble, I have a connection to. Bronner Brothers, we both have a connection to. Prudential, I have a connection to. Dell, I have a connection to. Southwest, I have a connection to. And hair care products, you probably have the connections to.
Definitely.
Now, adoption and Susie Corman, I think that's good. I think also when we look under confirmed advertising, certainly Encore will do something for us. And Upscale Magazine, you have it down here, they will certainly do something for us. They're big fans of FraserNet. So I think that I'm just trying to think of the steps I need to take from a sponsorship perspective now, because people are doing their budget. Sponsors are doing their budget. If they're not finished, I started sending out Power Networking Conference sponsorship packages in August and September. So they're doing their budgets right now as we speak. So I'm just trying to see, is there hair care products? James, who would you have in mind for hair care and beauty and makeup and all those kinds of things? You're thinking about someone like who are the big hair care products in our community?
Well, you got a few. You got a few that's on the table. You got New Expressions, which is a Bronner Brother product. They just launched a all-natural product for black women. That is called Isabella, if I'm not mistaken. That's one that they would love to give free samples of that. James Wealthy Systems, I have eyelash adhesive as well as my own eyelash line that could be a part of that. We have Jane Carter Solution. That's another all-natural product that's in the market right now. And Jane is a dear friend of mine out of New York. And, we can get into some Gloria Williams, the Foot Nanny, footnanny.com. She has an amazing pedicure cream that she has. So then we want to pull in the other items, whatever Procter & Gamble decides to, be a part of, and say, hey, look, we got overstock on hundreds of thousands of items that we can just give to you because that they're overstocked. So that's what we really want to get into, trying to see where we can get into someone's overstock items and Salon-Centric and other companies. That would be.
But what about a Clinique, a Revlon, or what's the other big names in makeup? Revlon, Clinique.
MAC, but MAC's probably not going to get a whole lot. You want to be able to. MAC is a huge one. But the biggest issue that you're gonna run into those items are, one, look at our audience, and we want products that are audience based. Most of the items that was for Shecky's or the Chicago style was definitely for Caucasian females. My wife went with me, she went with me, but that bag was not designed for the sister. To be honest with you. So in our thought process, we got lip balms that could be given out. That's a universal product. All the products that I mentioned are more universal products that could be used at home for all types of women of color. Is our whole objective, is to be able to have something that they could physically use when they get home, as opposed to saying,
what about Carol's daughter?
Carol's daughter, I don't have a connection with her, but Curtis Smith, which is Exotic Products, he has in fact, Carol, if I'm not mistaken, asked him for his product. They wanted to buy it from him, and he turned it down. That happens to be Diddy and Usher's barber. He has an all-natural product line, actually, and off the record, he's actually working on a deal with Procter & Gamble right now with Usher. So
Who is that, James?
Exotic Products, that's Curtis Smith, that's P. Diddy, and as well as Usher's barber, who has
Is he on the list
line.
here?
He is under Exotic Products. I didn't put Curtis' name on there. Him and I are both. The reason why
you're listing superstars on here, that we have to educate the regular woman, sister girl, who these people are. You all know who they are, because you know who's who in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to, so when you're using, for example, if we had a guest appearance, and I'm just throwing this out there, like, for example, I'm just using, say, Iman, because Iman, top black model, she's got her own cosmetic line. Well, black women know who Iman is. But all these individuals, I'm familiar with some of the names, reading Sister to Sister and some of the hair care and Bronner Brothers, but we have to educate these sisters, and we have to put in the tagline, Oprah's pedicures. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have to do that in order to get that buy-in from them, so they'll know these are superstars in that industry. Otherwise, they won't know.
They won't know, but then what you see there is based upon the lowest hanging fruit. So basically, some of those other people are a little bit more difficult to get to, and while we're trying to get to them, these other people are in our bag. So that's based upon what you see there is based upon a phone call away. This is what we need.
Right? No. What I'm saying is, you know who they are.
Get them.
Would you say?
When you finally have them, can you put a tagline? I know sometimes stars don't like you to advertise their folks.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
There's a privacy issue, confidentiality issue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean as far as these people that as far as the people with their products?
Yeah. No.
Well, Oprah. Oh, you mean?
Like Oprah's nanny. I mean, Oprah's pedicure nanny, whatever.
She's endorsed her on 2 occasions. In fact, she just left L.A. and Oprah had an exclusive interview in front of a room for the people. Lady got up and asked the question, who did her feet? She was trying to do business. She said, well, a young lady by the name of Gloria Williams from Foot Nanny. And Gloria's like, I'm here in the back. And then everybody that was there was ecstatic about it. So Oprah endorsed her on her Facebook as well as on her website. So these are clearances from that standpoint, they go without saying in that sense. But again, I'm only concerned about dealing with like an Iman or some of those other individuals.
No, I just use that. I just use that example, James, because if you mention her, we know who she is. But what I'm saying is like Gloria Williams. The tagline, Oprah's pedicures. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like if you would have said Andre, even when everybody mentioned Andre or whoever, Oprah's makeup or hairstylist, they always have that tagline, which gives the status that draws women. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
know because you're in the industry.
Want to use them names. You want to use those names.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's very critical that when we do our marketing, we have to use them. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely. I can see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because you already know who they are.
Sam, James, what do you think about Derek Rutledge, who's done our conference on a couple of occasions?
Derek Rutledge. Help me bring Derek to me. Who is Derek?
Derek is one of the top makeup artists. He did Oprah. He's done a number.
Yeah. In fact, Derek was just in L.A. with at the L.A. show. I knew that name sounded familiar. Yeah, Derek is he just had a surgery though, a weight loss surgery, and he's physically wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, was a little heavy set guy, kind of.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. Okay, he just did a surgery, and he had a problem with his hips because of his weight. I just was talking to Gloria about him. I don't know him, but Gloria does know him because she does Oprah's feet, and he's a makeup artist. But he doesn't do work for her no more. So for the record, he's not doing Oprah anymore. So that's kind of like, I know the inside and dealing with people. But but he's good people. I mean, the boy's a monster. He's a beast with his hands. You can't. But I think physically, I'm not sure up to par where he's at and how that will work as far as that's concerned. And you would probably have to reach out to him and see where he's at as far as in his recovery from that surgery he had done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears for a moment because we're into an hour and a half. Ladies, Veronica and Linda and Emma, programmatically, how should we lay this out in terms of keynote talks and workshops, and how does that fit into the flow of people enjoying and engaging all of this incredible beauty talent that we're going to have in the exhibit area? What is it? Do we open with a keynote session?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what. Yes,
midday.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's how you open the conference, George.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
You want to set them on fire early.
Right. So do we have workshops, a couple of concurrent workshops, not a whole lot of them, but a couple of concurrent workshops? Where do they fit in? How long are they?
Well, it depends upon your registration. If you have 500 women, you can't do that with a couple of workshops. Workshops may be problematic as far as fitting them in someplace.
Okay, well, we need to think about that. So if it's just 3 keynotes,
no, we didn't say that. We're just saying we thought a keynote in the morning, one in the afternoon, right after lunch, and one before they leave for the evening.
So that's basically. And then the rest of it is just engaging in beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Let their hair down. Down.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let their hair down.
Okay. So we don't want to over them in too many workshops and plenary sessions. We're going to call them plenary sessions, okay? So it's
because they'll get that, George, when they come to the FraserNet conference.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of that's when they'll engage in. Because
this is the appetizer that gets them. We're like, dang. If this is just the appetizer, you're telling me the meal starts on Thursday. This, it just gets us going. We're getting them at a high.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. Do you want to? So you open with a power talk. Do you want to have it so that the midday is you get a couple of choices of power talks? If you got 500 or 1,000 people, you can have 2 rooms of 500, and people can have an option. Do you want that, or you just want?
No.
I think energy should be concentrated.
Okay.
One room.
I mean, maybe in future years, but not the first year. We want them to see each other and see the volume.
Yeah. Okay.
You follow and feel the fire.
Okay.
That's right, Shaka.
Now, we have on our preliminary list, of course, you, Linda, and Emma. We have Lisa Nichols down here. There's a question mark.
Well, I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't sure about a lot of that. So just. No. The question is how we should utilize a Lisa Nichols. Should we utilize her in the pre-conference bonus day? Should we utilize her if we're going to utilize her during the actual conference? And if we decide to utilize her during the actual conference, then who's the third person to replace her? So that's the question.
if we utilize our biggest guns during the bonus day, who do we utilize? I guess there are lots of options and choices, but the question is, how do we utilize, and where's the best position, the best place to utilize?
Well, George, there's two ways to look at that. If you have big guns on the Women's Day, we'll call it that, W Day, you can still even use those guns again, because there will be some women that won't get to hear that, who may want, who still want to feel that they got it when they came to the Power Networking Conference, that they didn't get kicked out of everything because they couldn't make it, because it requires you to be in town another extra day.
Right.
Okay, so you still want everybody to feel like they got everything, but if you could make this day so much so, but you're still going to get a shot at these people.
Okay.
So, for example, if you use Lisa Nichols on the Women's Day and then used her the first day, then that would truncate her travel stay, right? But she'd still be in the mix, perhaps.
Right. Okay.
Hey, George.
Yes. Hey, Kim, how are you?
Hey there. I'm good. Thank you.
Hey.
Hey there.
You just came on the call, right?
Yes.
Oh, George, I know, but you asked me one other thing.
Yeah.
And I just remembered when Kim, and I wrote it in my notes, and I did get permission from Kim to steal his film, The Glow Project. We wanted to show that about empowering women and how they can go out and do things so we did want to use that film. So
sure,
that's a piece of media.
Kim, you're just coming on the call. How long have you been on the call? 5 minutes?
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
I want to make sure that with this bonus day, the thing that makes our bonus day work, because I know last year we had Lisa Nichols do a bonus day, and she did not speak during the actual conference last year. And then Ken, if you remember, Ken Cragen and someone else. I mean, neither of them spoke during the actual conference, and we really drove that bonus activity, and it worked phenomenally well. I think the whole point of the bonus days is to bring people in early, is to fill up the hotel and get the action going early. From our standpoint, was to give them something so intoxicating that and they saw it as a true bonus. See, if you've got the people speaking at your conference and your bonus day, then what's the point of the bonus day? How has it become a bonus?
Right. Mm-hmm. So are you saying that the people who speak on the bonus day are extraordinary talents, that unless you come to the bonus day, you're going to miss them?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to.
Is that what you're saying? From a marketing
perspective.
Right. So you bring in.
Kim, did you do that originally, or did you grow into that?
So I've done it. All right. So we've done it twice, and both times it was extraordinarily successful, and it really worked. And because Sandra and George follow the same kind of pre-conference tour strategy where they're both selling the conference live at their speaking engagements. And right. I don't think there's anything stronger than George being able to say, for those of you to come, I'm doing a VIP, whatever what you're deciding to call this day, such and such, that is by invitation only. It's a high dollar ticket item. It costs X amount of dollars, but for everyone who buys a ticket, I'm giving you the bonus day as my gift to you. We raised our prices. So we used to be, Sandra would go on the road and sell the conference for $395. For 10 years she did that. And once we added the bonus day, we actually upped the price to the conference, and now her ticket price is $795 to go to the conference because she gifts them the bonus day. So the more juice and the more exclusivity you put around that bonus day, and you put a hefty price to attend on your website, you never let never let it appear that anybody can get it. They can only get it when George offers it to them at his live events. This is a gift that I'm giving you. This is my gift to you. For those of you that move on this bonus day itself is worth, what you can put your price at $995. It's my gift to you.
Well, Kim, do you remember when you had me do the bonus day? We had, how many people did we have register, Kim?
Exactly. You did. Well, it was packed.
We had about 400 or 500 people, Kim?
500 women. That's exactly right. You were there the year we did it with Lisa Sasevich, right?
Right, because Lisa, I did one in that morning, and Lisa did one the next day, and we had what, 400 or 500 in my session, Kim?
And we did. It was packed, and listen, and part of the strategy here is, and I'm sensitive to this, George, is it drove your hotel room nights. It drove and filled up you just knocked your block right out the window. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Linda's right. Linda did it. It was a huge hit. That's when Linda and I did an offer for a mastermind session. And I think let me see.
So what you're saying, Kim, what you're saying is, whoever the superstars are that are speaking on bonus day, like we had Lisa Sasevich this year, but she only spoke on bonus day. She didn't speak during the conference, right? Right. Superstars who will be available to inspire, to motivate, to educate, to inspire, and to empower will be exclusive to that day. You will not be able to see them at any other time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I really sold. You have to understand. Even Lisa Sasevich, she wasn't that known to our group, and so it was. Sandra made Lisa Sasevich popular with eWomen Network. She says you'll do it with the people you're talking about because they bought the transformation they were going to get. I mean, they got the.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell our managing directors, sell topics, not speakers, and all I mean is. Sell the benefits of what you're talking about and what they're going to learn, because most of them don't know who the speakers are.
Right.
I mean,
I agree with that.
Touche.
I agree with that. You're exactly right. Yeah, that's great. I love that. That's great. So, all right. So we're trying to narrow it down because we're trying to put together.
Keynotes.
I'd asked James before you came on the call, Kim, to put together the words, the copy for our one-sheeter, for our bonus day, the images that we need on that sheet so I can begin to get our graphic designers on it and begin to prepare it. But what we now have to do, and I think Kim is right, I think whoever speaks on bonus day, they are heavy hitters, with heavy topics that mean something of value to people. And the only way you can get these people, just as Kim has done for the last couple of years, and as we did this year with Lisa Sasevich, is to come to bonus day. If you can get these same people during the conference, what Kim is saying, what's the purpose of coming to bonus day? You can just wait.
Yep.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
You can just wait and come to the conference and not have to come an extra day.
Is your bonus day 1 day or 2 days, George?
1 day. Wednesday.
1 day. What, is there a title for it?
Right now, the working title is Dallas Power Networking launches Dallas Styles. And then what's the sub-theme, Linda Clemens?
Faith, Fine, and Fierce.
Yes.
What is it? Fit, Fine, and Fierce?
Faith, Fine, and Fierce.
Faith, Fine, and Fierce. That's the sub-theme of DallasStyles.com. We dumped GoDiva because of the a whole lot of other issues that go with that name. And,
I'm glad. I think that's smart. That's smart that you jumped at it.
Yeah, and James came up with Dallas Styles. And if we, someday when we move to, Washington, it could be Washington style, or it could be New York style, or, there's any number of ways we can go with that. And so what we were discussing right before you came on is how to utilize and how to leverage. We have 3 speakers on this. We had Linda Clemens for we had 3 empowerment sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one at close. And we had Linda Clements doing one. We had Emma doing another one. And we were thinking about Lisa Nichols. And should we use Lisa Nichols? How should we use her? Should we use her during the conference, which is a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday? Should we use her during the bonus day? You know, there were lots of question marks around that. We're just trying to wrap our minds around. Go ahead.
I think in this case, Lisa should be your main, one of your main conference speakers, one of your main, not a bonus speaker. I think you have to be like a conference ticket. Let me ask you another question. What is on that day? What is the transformation for the women? I mean, what is the focus of? I mean, if we're talking to 100 women and telling them to come to this day, what is the transformation that they're going to get?
The answer to, hey, Kim, how you doing?
Was that James?
Yeah, this is James. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, James. Hey, man.
Hey, I would say empowerment, beauty, and one other word that would probably be the most transformation is what I want to say, but I don't know if that would be a great one, but definitely empowerment from the daytime. They're definitely going to get a beauty experience in the evening, but something else is in between there, and when I get it, I'll give it to you. But I think the total woman, basically the total woman dealing with her mind, body, and soul from internal to external, because we're definitely going to deal with the internal throughout the day. And then as the evening progresses on, then we have the external. So she will be completely taken care of. So I don't know.
Well, and I think you make a good point. I think whatever that transformation is ought to be embedded somewhere in the sub-theme.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When it comes to us, we'll have it.
Well, and the reason why is because people don't buy the airplane; they buy the destination. They buy what's the outcome. What's not just the pill. They're buying the 30 pounds looking fabulous in 30 days. Whatever they're buying. They're buying but the jeans
right.
to get.
Can we all agree that transformation is one of the words?
Yes, because that's your scripture, George, for the conference. Paul, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Right. So transformation certainly is one of the words.
Absolutely.
Mind, body, heart, and spirit. That's what we're talking about when we talk about transformation. That's one of those, right? So what other word would come to mind under the guise of transformation? What experience will they have for this investment of time, talent, and treasure?
Well, I just like what you just said. Transforming, the transformation of your time, talent, and treasure.
Mm-hmm. Kim, what do you think?
Well, there are two things here. I don't know if you can pull this off at the hotel, but the whole beauty side of what James is talking about could be a day all by itself, completely and utterly. You could burn this thing up with. This could be 2 days. One day is the physical transformation with the cutting edge looks, styles, all around this whole new business look, whatever. I mean, a whole thing on look, style, and all that, because you could fill the whole day with just that. And then the second day would be the transformation of your for your business, for your life, for your direction. I guess the thing that it strikes me is, what are the top 3 pain points with black women? What are the top 3?
We don't have 2 days. We only have 1 day.
Okay,
so we've got to into 1 day.
Okay, so if it's 1 day, then it sure seems that it ought to should be divided between beauty being the second half and the.
Well, that's how it is.
I like that.
That's how it is, Kim.
I like that. So in other words, extend that part you're saying, Kim. Extend the time, and I think my concern would be with 2 days. I think doing 1 day, the euphoria or the impact of that 1 day would be more effective as opposed to being drawn out for 2 days and then coming back again.
So we're only going to do one day. We don't have the width or the logistics or the space to do it for 2 days. So it's one day. Right.
Okay. Could one half of the day be pretty? So could one half of the day be pretty on the outside and one half of the day be pretty on the inside?
Love it.
Right. Conceptually, thematically, that's how the time is divided up. Right? Pretty on the inside, pretty on the outside. Your trunk.
I thought James said jumping your trunk.
Whole nother lecture.
Oh, that's an accident.
Last Deborah did a workshop Deborah McCreary did a workshop every morning. Workshop every morning using stuff that could be found in the hotel. And that was very powerful.
All right, so did somebody capture the 3 words?
In terms of painting, in the copy, in terms of painting a picture for them that shows a specific outcome that they're going to get from being there. So it's not framing it in light of what's missing also.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Harvey.
Just like women, the power of the purse, and dealing in areas of finances, the power of their purse.
Right. And I was going to say, Steve Harvey's book, what is that? Think like a man, act like a woman. I mean,
so think like a lady, act like a man.
You know what I mean?
Same thing.
Same. But yes.
You messed that one up real good. Go ahead.
But the point is, he took an age-old topic, put it in a new spin, and he's laughing all the way to 16 Swedish banks.
That's right. And that's what we need to do, is give it a fresh new spin. But it is the mind, body, soul, but a fresh new spin. That's what's going to happen.
Well, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to get on that, because I think transformation, yourself, your wealth, your health, but and certainly relationships. I think Veronica's right, dead on.
You better believe it.
You don't want to stay that way, but that's
It's just up for black
how about
women
something like reestablishing? This is a concept. Reestablishing your beauty from the inside out.
Yeah.
I'm talking about inside and outside, or establishing your beauty, or confirming or transforming your beauty from the inside out. Just throwing out stuff.
I hear you. I feel it needs to be more provocative and more uplifting. That's all. That's all.
All right.
I think women come to this thing. Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. I think about how you feel walking into the room, and if you feel like I'm coming because my beauty isn't established, I'm coming in to figure out how to get my beauty together. Versus you're already wonderful, okay? But we're going to share some tips, some tactics, some strategies to take it to a whole nother level.
To make you extraordinary.
Yeah, exactly. Extraordinary, make it the ultimate beauty, the ultimate. Yeah, I don't have the words right now. I'm just saying.
Okay, I see where you're going. We're not taking it from the ground up. We're going to say we're already meeting you on top of the mountain. We're just going to show you how to fly.
That's a great point.
That is very true.
I mean, like
James
last year at Georgia's conference, I was really attracted when I was sitting there talking to James, and he was talking about what he does with eyebrows and eyelashes. I said, oh my God, Sandra's, she'd love this, and I immediately thought how the women at the conference would love this. So my message wasn't that your eyebrows look horrible or you don't have your act together with your eyelashes. That message was, hear about this. We got this guy, he's an expert, and you got to see the things he's doing with eyelashes. You got to see the things he's doing with eyebrows. You will love this. It wasn't like what you had. It was like, see the new. That was the message. Does that make sense?
So it's really an invitation to have them join the leading edge.
Right.
An invitation for them to up level. kind of
right,
up
right.
game,
That's right.
What do you,
control their leading edge.
What do you, Veronica, what was that? The last part you said there?
The leading edge and up level.
It's an invitation for them to join the leading edge. It's like,
Love it.
You're great, and we have so much more for you.
How about, I love that. How about this idea? Throughout the day, I think that we should also highlight some of the beauty experts in the sessions, basically like a tips, basically beauty tips. This is how you can take care of yourself throughout the day, and that basically creates a platform for later on what they've already paid for, but it also creates a platform for them later on that evening to basically to patronize whatever booths or whatever else. But they have a beauty tip in between there. So you take a Kim, and she has a woman's hair, and you can wear your hair 3 different ways with this style. You can pull it up, you can lay it down, you can do 4 different things with this particular, having your hair. Then you have someone to come and say, what are 4 things that you can do to keep your feet looking better or manicures throughout the process when you haven't went and got your feet done and so on. And then you have someone that can say, here's some tips, like myself, how to keep and maintain your eyebrows. Your natural eyelashes grow out every 55 days, so you have to understand that they replenish themselves in that time. But that education.
Well, here's one: how not to have angst with your Spanx.
Which are who?
You don't even know what that is. All the women there know what it is.
How to not have angst with your Spanx?
Yes.
You know how to get in it?
Yes. No, but you know what that really is? That is a session on the proper undergarments to look your best. Really, believe it or not, a lot of women would look much better in their clothes if they knew how to position that stuff underneath it. Believe it or not.
That's true. That's true.
Absolutely. That's why I said not to have how to minimize the angst with your Spanx.
Right.
I was just throwing that out.
No, the education side is women are informationally driven. You have to understand that. That's why I ain't gonna say that's why they ate of the tree, but I'm gonna leave that one alone. But no, informationally driven. Women want information. Women want information. So they're a sponge when it comes down to that. So the more information you can give them to help them throughout the process of whatever they're dealing with, from beauty and so on, it's what they're going to absorb. So that's why I said the beauty tips throughout the day may be small, even 5 or 10 minute segments, if that's what's necessary. But it also helps them to be able to understand balance.
James, hold on a second. I think you make a very, very important point. What I'd like for you to do is to come up with 4 to 6 micro workshops, 10 to 15 minute micro workshops.
Everybody stays in the room and gets.
Yeah, that would be most helpful to women that we can interdisperse throughout the day. What would be 4 to 6 micro workshops, something to do with eyelashes and eyebrows, something to do with angst with your Spanx, something to do with proper makeup, something to do with proper styling, hairstyling for your face shape, whatever that may be. Deborah could do something quick on health, but 4 to 6 micro workshops that everybody stays in the room, that we interdisperse through.
That's
sessions.
Balanced.
I just thought of one, George. It's so obvious. Do you know how much money women spend on shoes? And half people's shoes are too small, too tight, don't fit their leg. They're walking around in pain. Honest to God, if somebody could talk about shoes. Women spend $1 billion on shoes.
Yeah,
they do. True. Shoes and handbags.
Yep.
Shoes.
I'm telling you.
I would incorporate shoes and handbags.
Absolutely.
Right. So anyway, so think about 6 micro workshops that can be interdispersed throughout the 2 or 3 major plenary sessions, okay?
Oh, and can I say something? And at the end of each of those workshops, if we had a drawing and a woman got something, in other words, if James is going to do a half an hour on gorilla eyebrows, whatever, then at the end there's a drawing and some woman gets a free shot at him. If we're going to do it on shoes and handbags, we should have some giveaway with that. You follow? If we're going to do something on weight and exercise, then you get free 2 mini sessions with Deborah, who's up. You follow what I'm saying?
Sure. We can execute that. We're getting a little too granular now. We'll talk about all those extra bonuses and stuff like that. But I think conceptually, 4 to 6 mini workshops that can be interdispersed through the plenary sessions. Now we have to get down to who are the plenary sessions. I think Kim makes a valid point. Whoever speaks at the bonus day, the only way you can get them is to come to the bonus day. That they are exclusive to the bonus day. And so we need to think about who are those 2 or 3 people. Is it just 2 people? Is it probably just 2 people? We have historically only had 1 or 2 people. I know Kim has had no more than 2 on a bonus day. I think it was Linda Clemens and Lisa Sasevich on one of the times. And then this year I think he had who was the guy from Ken Cragen, right. Right. Mm-hmm. You could only get Ken Cragen if you came to the bonus day. So and here we had Lisa Sasevich, and you could only get Lisa Sasevich if you came to the bonus day. So we need to think about who should do the bonus day. We'll keep Lisa Nichols, if we utilize her next year, for the main conference. So it would be Linda and Emma, which would preclude main stage events at the main conference, but not preclude workshops.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you 2 would have to be okay with that.
I'm good with it, George.
I'm good with it, but George, remember, we will be unveiling, if all goes well, another book.
Right.
Well, that's a whole other thing. We're not. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. That would be a me and you thing, and that's different, right?
Okay. All right. I'm good with that.
Same thing on the unveiling of our new book that you're going to be saying on bonus day. That's 2 entirely different conversations, 2 entirely different talks.
That's exactly right. Yes. Okay.
Right.
I'm good.
So, let me understand. So, and based back what Kim said, we probably should extend the beauty side as far as timeline is concerned. Instead of starting at 6:30, start it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have tips during in between the keynoters.
No, I'm talking about the exhibit floor. The exhibit floor. In other words, that beauty portion of that. Are we saying extend that time? Basically, have a half a day of internal, and then thought thinking, and then a half a day of external. Or
I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think the beauty folk are there from whenever we open our doors at 9 o'clock to whenever we decide to end, and that might be 7 or 8 o'clock. And in between sessions, right? People are visiting the booths.
I don't know if that would be ideal in the sense of you want, because it's almost like a rushed experience. So basically, whatever we did, once they break out and let their hair down, they're gonna let their hair down for the night. Because especially if they're serving any drinks or anything like that, her hair is let down. She's not gonna put it back up again.
All right. So are you saying then? So what's best for the beauty of vendors?
Should we have it from 4
to do our transformational stuff in the morning?
Yeah,
through, let's say, lunch and then post-lunch, and then let their hair down, let's say, from 2 or 3 o'clock to 6 or 7. Is that what you're saying, James?
More so like 4 to maybe 8 or something.
That's what I was thinking.
That was more. So I think I kind of like that because you want the time, the running room throughout the day, get all the information you want to get in, have a break session between that for them to go change and everything else, and then enjoy the rest of the evening.
Okay, all right,
just like that.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So now we have to think about how do we program for transformational, informational, instructional, educational stuff from 9 to 4.
No, George, what you said, you have 2 keynotes.
Yep.
And in between there, it's informational about beauty. When they leave at 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, they're going to go out and do it. but they're going to get information.
I like that.
Right. So,
I love that idea. If that's the serious side of Sears, and then they can go out and
execute it.
Yep.
Right.
And get the experience.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that.
With an hour and a half for lunch in between. Is that what you're saying?
Well, as far as them to go away and come back, you have to do your timeline on that. I mean, you could probably.
Well,
get
I'm just figuring out the timeline. The timeline is 9 to 4, right? Now we've got to figure out
2 or 3. You want to have a window to get transition. And when is the open floor? Unless we're going to push the floor opening at 5 or something, we can work on the timeline. All right.
So will you work on the timeline? I'll work on the timeline. Emma, you work on the timeline from 9 to 4. How you see it flowing, James? You work on it, and I'll work on it.
I'm gonna work on it with Linda.
Or flowing from the instructional, educational, transformational stuff. We know that from 4 to 8 that they're going to let their hair down. But how does it flow? When do we put in the micro sessions? When do we allow them to go to lunch? How does that flow? What does that timeline look like? And do we open with an Emma and then have a Linda, et cetera, et cetera? Do we have the 6 micro workshops on beauty, instructional beauty tips? Do we put in there as part of the timeline because you give an hour. You give people an hour for main stage plenary sessions, an hour. You give 15 minutes for a micro session, or maybe 20 minutes. You've got a couple of breaks you got to have in there. You got a lunch break in there. Is there a time slot for some concurrent workshops? Maybe not. I don't know. We have. Yeah.
George, when they at eWomen's, those plenary sessions on the bonus were longer than an hour because the women have a chance to. You have more chance to go in depth. It isn't your regular hour keynote.
All right. So let's say keynotes are an hour and a half. Yeah. So 2 keynotes.
What do you think,
3
Linda?
Hours, right?
Yes. We want it to
you got
be
an hour.
No, not an hour.
All right, so let's say they're an hour and a half each.
Yes.
That's 3 hours for 2. You got an hour lunch, 4 hours, right? Now remember, we only have 7 hours to work with. So you got 6 micro workshops at 15 minutes each, right? That's an hour and a half. So we're now at 4.5 hours, right?
And an hour and a half for lunch.
About right.
No, well, let's do the math. I think so. That might be 5.5 hours. So let's do the math. An hour for lunch, 2 keynotes at an hour and a half. That's 3 hours. 6 micro sessions, 15 minutes each. That's an hour and a half. How much is that so far?
I wasn't adding.
Is somebody adding?
3, 4 and a half.
4.5.
That's 4.5 hours.
No.
We got 7
hours
to
3 hours.
Keynotes 3 hours. Lunch is an hour. That's 4 hours. Right. Micro sessions, 15 minutes is an hour and a half. Right. That's 5.5 hours.
But George.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Something.
Yeah.
But you have to allow for this, George, which is never allowed for. After you have a keynote, or people go to the bathroom, and you got to give them a break. You don't give people a second break; they take it anyway, and it disturbs.
I know that.
Yeah.
Getting too granular. We're just trying to figure out in rough numbers hours. So we allow 3 15-minute breaks. That's 45 minutes, right? We're now at 6.25 hours.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
And you leave that other half hour for just lost time that's going to happen anyway.
Okay. We're at
so,
7
for
hours.
example, if the keynote opened up at 9 o'clock and we're doing a 90-minute session, it's an hour and a half. That's from 9 to 10:30. there's a 30-minute leadway there. If that was a break for back of the room sales, for people that are buying the book or whatever the products there is. Then at 11 o'clock on top of the hour, there's 11 o'clock to 11:15 is one of those mini power sessions. Then then you can actually have another power session behind that, and then at 11:30, people could be headed towards lunch or something.
An early lunch. And then at 1 o'clock is the second keynote.
You start again, and then you do the same thing, and then people still got time to do the break, get ready for the ribbon cutting, to open up the day of beauty, and so on.
Okay, so will you guys work on a flow? Using the time, 7 hours. What is that 7? How is the 7 hours chopped up?
Okay.
Kim, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really think that focusing on the time and how long it is isn't the right way for us to go. I think we need to focus on the content. I mean, I really feel like the content will drive the time. So for me, the big thing is what's being discussed. And those micro sessions we're talking about, once we know what those are, we'll be able to shape the time.
Okay.
Because I think content
is
really
Kim,
important.
the only reason I just wanted to put a framework around the time is so that as we think about what needs to be discussed, because you're right, I mean, it's content. I mean, without the right content, without the right subject matter, without the right framing of it, without it being juicy and provocative, we don't really have anything. But if we've got if we frame it, if we understand the time frame, right? Then we once we understand that, if we have 7 pieces we have to fill in with really rich subject matter, understand, because I don't want to plan a whole lot of really incredible stuff and then find out at the end of the day we don't really have enough time for this stuff, right? It's just too much stuff. So if there's 2 keynotes and 6 mini beauty sessions, right? Well, that's what we got to work with. Now let's make that. Let's. What's the highest and best use of that time, right? Because that's all we need to plan for. We don't need to plan 5 keynotes and 8 beauty sessions, because we don't really have the time for it. Right. We got 7 hours to work with.
Right.
And they're in 7 pieces or 6 pieces, whatever they may be. Now, what are those pieces?
Right.
What's the highest and best use of those 7 pieces or 6 pieces, whatever it may? That's the only reason I wanted to wrap my mind. I mean, I just say that, Kim, from my planning with the Power Networking Conference for 12 years. I cannot even begin to tell you. Every year, Kim, we have more workshops, more subject matter, more exciting stuff than we absolutely have time for.
Right.
Right? We end up with not enough time and all of these incredible things to do. And so I'm working backwards this year. I said, okay, I'm structuring it this way. These are the slots, and now I'm going to go find the best stuff to put in these 6 slots for this day. And it also becomes a huge political problem. At least it has for me, because I've overpromised people time slots to do their thing because the thing is exciting, and end up at the end of the day, I don't really have enough time. Unless we want this conference to go to midnight, right? So that's the only reason I just wanted to get some thought in my mind around what are we really planning for here? How many things are we really going to do? How many things are we really going to insert? So if it's 6 mini beauty sessions, which I think is a great idea, and 2 plenary sessions, and that eats up all of our time when we allow for breaks and lunch and back of the room, then let's go with that.
Right.
And let's figure out how to best use that. And
I mean, my feeling about when they come out at 4 o'clock, this is the best way I can describe it. I want them to feel like they had a religious experience.
Okay.
That they've been absolutely transformed by that information.
So that puts a lot of weight on the 2 speakers.
No,
yes. That's number one. And it also puts a lot of weight on James figuring out what's the highest and best use of 6 mini beauty workshops.
In other words, Linda and I will be focusing on the inner, and the 6 mini workshops are focusing on the outward.
Right. So what are they? And then what is the subject matter? How do we frame it? How do we title it? How do we something really provocative? Because as Kim said, we're going to be selling the subject matter,
the topic,
and not necessarily the speakers, right?
Right.
So you got to think about, you and Linda have to think about what is the meatiest, richest, and juiciest transformational themes that you feel, each of you feel comfortable talking about. And then James has to think about the same thing when it comes to the 6 mini beauty sessions.
James.
Can I interject a question for Kim? Since Kim has done this, there's some version of this. Kim, when you think about how you frame content and it's sort of a mixed day, right? It's sort of both, the internal stuff and the external stuff in terms of beauty. Is there a framework that you use when you do days that are mixed like that, when you think about content?
Wait, how do I what with the content?
Is there a framework that you use? Is there a way that you frame content? How do you frame it?
Yeah. Here's what I do. I have to know what the pain points are. So like we just did a big survey. We got over 3,000 responses from women to find out where the pain points are. Number one is websites. Everybody's getting their butt kicked with websites, and we already know in the black community, we're behind overall with a lot of our different websites. Okay. So that's one. And number 2, it's social media. Those are the 2 big stumbling blocks.
Amen.
Okay. So what I do is I look at what the pain points are, and then I try to build the content or something around that, whatever, something that's hot, marketing, promotion, and that's what I try to do. I've learned that people love those deep dive sessions, those 2 and 3 hour sessions where you can go deep. I find that the speakers sell much better when they're able to go deep, when they're able to really build rapport with the audience, and so we saw record sales numbers with that. And the whole thing with the beauty thing, I just thought personally that we could do something really cutting edge with black beauty,
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, it just had to be cutting edge.
So can I ask you something else about framing? Because since we have your brain here, and when you talk about websites and social media, so for example, this is just in terms of helping us think about how to frame this. When you talk about websites and social media, how do you frame the pain points so that you trigger that for them? Well, so what are you going to say about websites and social media that are going to draw them in and have them locate their problem?
Well, okay, so the way I would do it, and we could do the same thing with Fraser Net. The whole point would be, I can't do it as cool as George, but I'm going to try to do a George for you, okay?
Okay.
So
all right.
I can see George at his event saying, look, I know that one of the biggest issues facing everybody in this room is your websites. And I know that we're all trying to figure out how to make social media get a return on investment on social media. I've decided to bring together in one day, I put together a VIP program. It's $1,500 for the day because I'm bringing in nothing but these great experts. But don't let that price scare you. But here's what I'm going to do. We're going to come. I'm bringing in top beauty style experts. We're going to glam you up, style you up, and have photographers that are there to take pictures for your websites, for the stuff you've been wanting to do because you get the wrong photo on your website. We're going to fix that.
Gotcha.
I'm going to bring in some videographers who are going to be set up. They're going to be shooting 60-second, 90-second commercials that you can put real video on your website, welcoming people to your website. I'm bringing all these experts in one place. I'm going to bring a whole team of website designers,
experts who I consider to be the best of breed, best in product. They're going to be at the conference. We're going to do a whole thing on search engine optimization, what that means, how it works, what it needs to do, what you need to be doing with your website right now, so you don't get suckered into spending a whole bunch of wasted money. Hey, listen, and as much as I do this, I've been a victim of not getting exactly what I want. So I know you got to be a victim of getting not getting what you want. So I would repackage it around those pain points, and I would read beauty and everything within those points, and utilize Emma and Linda in categories of that, because Emma is gifted with the way she can get to the soul and the spirit, and then Linda with her sales. I'm just saying that's how I would approach it. This year, I'm bringing Mark Ostrovsky, who wrote the book,
Get Click.
Get Rich Quick. Okay, so he's doing 3 hours, and I'm bringing this woman by the name of Sally Hogshead. You can look her up on the internet, Sally Hogshead. She's got a whole program on fascination, and her whole thing is you won't get anything done if you don't fascinate people. She's doing, that's all I'm saying.
So you're connecting it. So let me make sure I understand this. So, because what I'm also hearing you say, Kim, is that you're connecting the beauty to the business in a certain way.
Exactly.
Offering the services that you're offering, you're saying get beautiful, but here's the reason why that relates to a business purpose. Am I hearing that right? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, y'all, that's why Kim's on my team.
You know what? I mean, basically, I was somewhere the other day, and someone said something ugly. Oh, Vera Moore said to me something. I was tired. She says, Emma, you have to go take care of yourself because ugly don't sell. That's what she always says. Ugly don't sell.
It doesn't.
Exactly.
So here you go. So then it's using health, wealth, and what was the third one? Health, wealth, and self to sell.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Say that again, Veronica.
It's using health. In other words, so you're talking about you potentially as a theme using up leveling your health, your wealth, and yourself to sell. In other words, you're doing all that in service of selling yourself, your business, your product, your service. I guess I'm listening for it.
You want to frame it around that the better you look, the further your business goes.
Because then it falls in with Linda's stuff on sales, right?
Yes, it does.
Right. The whole advertising industry is based on beauty.
Right.
Everything they sell is based on beauty. So beauty is huge.
Well, maybe that's part of a talk. What is beauty?
I saw a really cool thing by this woman Danielle Laporte. Her and Marie Folio last year did a thing called Selling with Soul. How to be like non-grimy, non-douchey in your sales. Kind of was there because they're kind of these hipster women. But I just wonder if there's a way to kind of embody, have all of this kind of lead to something that they can do that impacts their business or their sales. I mean, to frame it in that way.
Yeah. I get that.
I get that too. James, you get that?
I'm loving it.
Yes, I'm liking this.
Right.
The thing is, so that when these women need to walk away with not only strong takeaways, things that are applicable for them to use right away, that they're sitting there, that they cannot wait to get home, they cannot wait to get on the phone to tell someone that they found the answer, that they got their aha, they got their exhale. In other words, they were holding their breath, and they're able to exhale because they got it. They got their second breath because of whatever, they just got enriched with something and empowered something. Time magazine had on the cover, the new income earner is women. Women are positioned to be more powerful now, but they have to get their insides together in order to be able to project their outsides right and be able to sell themselves. They compete differently with men. So there's all kinds of things. They're looking beautiful on the outside and ready to have a nervous breakdown on the inside. So this conference is not only transformational, it's healing in a way, it's enrichment in a way, it's enlightenment in a way that you want them to walk away with, as James mentioned earlier, the wow factor, and that's the exhaling part of it.
Yeah, I think we're dancing all around it, and we now just have to nail it down thematically. And
like an advertisement, sort of draw them in.
Yeah, Dallas Styles, and we really got to come up with a provocative, punchy, bleeding edge sub-theme, and certainly this ties well into your whole selling persona, Linda. I mean, this is right up your alley because it's all. End of the day, it's all about selling something. You're selling your product, you're selling your service, you're selling yourself, right? You're selling something. 24/7, right? You're doing business, whether you know it or not, 24/7. So, I think, and your beauty, how you look, is huge. Is huge. How you look is huge, and how you feel is huge, and how you serve, because the more people you serve, the more money you earn, right? It's all about serving with amazingness and excellence, and to say it more profoundly, the hands that serve are more powerful than the lips that pray. The hands that serve are more powerful than the lips that pray. So how do you serve yourself? By improving your inner self and your outer beauty, right? And then acquiring the skills necessary to take your business and to take your career to the next level. And that's what we're talking about on this day.
Right. It's about, you're right, George. It's about packaging yourself inside and out to position yourself.
Absolutely. I like that.
Well, when we talk about those beauty tips, think about this as a frame, taking them from head to toe.
That's good.
You follow?
Can I leave you guys with something real quick? I just want to leave. One of the biggest, me and George were talking about this, one of the biggest events in the country is South by Southwest. Have you heard about this, Emma? South by Southwest.
No.
Okay, now, I told George, have you heard about it, Emma?
No.
Okay, it's huge. How about you, Linda? Have you heard about it?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Veronica? Have you heard about South by Southwest?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I'm talking hundreds of thousands. It's called South by Southwest. I felt like a dummy. I just heard about it last year. It's been going on for 18, 19 years. It's in Austin, Texas. They take it over for like 2 weeks. Just Google South by Southwest. Okay. So play with this. Here's the title. What if we called this East-West Central, the convergence of style, success, and strategy? So I know that's going to hit you guys strange. Just play around. In other words, we're taking the best from the East, the best from the West, doing it all in the central part of the country. So the best of New York, the best of L.A., driving it to the central of the country, Dallas. So call it the East-West Central VIP experience. It's the convergence of style, success, and strategy for the unstoppable woman.
I hope
somebody write that down.
Somebody wrote that down. I hope they wrote that down right there.
I have it.
I think we write in the vein. I will write in the vein.
I like this. Oh, I like this.
And we'll write in the vein.
George could sell that. George could say it's called East West Central. It's it's the convergence of the best of LA, the best of New York, all in the central, the central zone of America.
That's right.
It's the convergence of style,
experience,
success, and strategy for the unstoppable woman.
I like that.
Oh, I like that. I'd be liking that.
James, you like that, James?
That summarizes Dallas Styles.
It does.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
It really
but
Dallas,
but it says it, James. It says it.
Wow. I like
but
it.
But it says it. It gives credit to everybody coming from everywhere.
To one central location. I love it.
To one central location.
I love it. I love it.
I like that. The VIP experience.
It's a VIP experience. And George, all you have to do is add the whole notion to, look, I know what my own pain points are, and I run a multi-million-dollar enterprise. I know what your problem is because I experience it too. I'm bringing together my best people from the East, the West, all central to the biggest experience you've ever had.
Right.
And it's style, it's success, it's strategy. So.
Mm-hmm.
I've got. You guys won't believe this. I've been in defensive driving course today from 3 to 9 o'clock.
Defensive driving.
Yeah, I got a speeding ticket, and if I took this course, I would get. They take it off your insurance. They take it off your record. They expunge your record. Right. And I had a speeding ticket in 15 years. But I guess.
Wow.
Now you haven't.
I had 5 of them. They were going to take my license. Not to worry. I took that course too. I enjoyed it. It was mindless.
Yeah. Did it work?
It was mindless. It made me sit and just listen to somebody talk how fast a truck should go. It was probably the only time I could ever sit still.
Yeah. Wow. So I've got to sign off. I just wanted to.
Okay. All right.
We've been at this for 2.5 hours, so we're going to. We have a sense of where we're going, and I love that sub theme. I love that theme for Dallas that Kim just came up with. That's like
classic.
But let me just ask one question. It wouldn't be called Dallas Style anymore, wouldn't it be called East West Central VIP Experience?
Right. I mean, I'm telling you, to me, the name of it is East West Central.
Yes.
Just lay with it. I'll send George. I'll type it up and send it to you, and you can send it to everybody else. And just let that be something that we throw in the pot. That's all.
Okay.
But to me, it's more provocative, and there's a story behind it.
Right. I love it. Okay.
Okay. Hey, thanks everybody. George, I'll talk
to you. All right, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, George.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. You there?
Yeah, I'm right here. I said, all right.
Okay.
I love it.
So do we have a plan, and do we sort of have some accountabilities in terms of what we want to, who wants to take what on?
I got the 6 questions.
Raise their hand. Okay.
Let's do that.
James,
let's do that.
Can you, Linda, and I get together and have a call around that?
Yes, definitely. How soon?
Okay.
I think soon.
Yes.
Well, yes, absolutely soon.
Linda Clemens, right?
And work out all this stuff and not drive them crazy while we work out some of the granular stuff.
We got it. It's done. I got Linda's line anyway, and I'll have her send me. She can text me your number and go from there.
Okay.
But and I think the evening is far spent, but it's definitely been worth every moment.
Absolutely.
With that closing right there.
Oh, that was powerful.
It concludes everything. It was worth every minute. So.
Absolutely. So
the floor is yours, George.
It would be either FraserNet presents East West Central, then the sub theme, or Power Networking launches or presents East West Central, and then the sub theme.
I like the word launch, not presents. Launch. A launch is a big thing. In fact, George, for Women's Day, since it's the first time, could there be some kind of ceremony going into that room?
Yeah, we can figure that out. That's granular.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
granular, but I'm saying because you're launching it for the first time, so it's a big, big deal.
And make sure you keep those S words that Kim was using: style, success, and strategy.
Right.
Right. Style, success, and strategy. Yeah,
love it.
I love it.
For the unstoppable woman.
The unstoppable woman. Woo.
Woo.
Got me excited. Hell, I want to attend.
Yes. No, you
can't. Guys are going to be pissed.
Well, you might have to do a men's day.
Wow. Okay. All right. So the next steps are you guys are going to get together and
do granular stuff.
Right. And then most importantly is lay out the day.
Yes.
Lay out the day and the subject matter. We can talk about how we title the subject matter, because the title of the subject matter has to be leading edge, bleeding edge, and provocative too. Every workshop has to have a leading edge title to it. You know, think about your title as if you were writing a book. Would you want that to be the title of your book?
Right. I like a word Veronica used that I never heard of. Up level. I like that word.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Mm-hmm.
So James, you'll email Emma and I so that we can with some possible dates so we can follow up on our conference call.
Definitely.
Okay.
And you guys will get together within a week?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, James, I'm out of here the 15th, so we got to do it before then.
And I'm in Phoenix right now doing a training tomorrow for Southwest Airlines.
Oh, okay.
But that South by Southwest is a big event. Bands, concerts, it's a huge thing.
Great. All right, so that's the
next
step.
And James, just before you go, before I lose consciousness, so the music has to be that kind of music. You follow what I'm saying?
Which kind?
The kind of music that inspires women. You follow what I'm saying?
That's interesting you say that. I got the same music guy who did the one in Style Chicago, and the music ran all night long. It has energy, driving, and I got a DJ that also can be playing too, but he basically is out of Chicago, and music, that's what created the atmosphere. Once you turn the music off, you had a dead room. So the music, it determines, it sets the atmosphere.
Well, there's no good movie without a good sound score.
Yep. Got it.
Okay.
Okay, everybody.
Okay. All righty.
Great.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.